Alright, so today we're going to be looking at some people who have done impulse buying. There's a lot of videos of people doing confessions, and I give credit where credit's due. It's not easy to admit that you'd like to spend all of your hard-earned money on TikTok shop, especially when it comes to medical supplies. Buying medical supplies and medications from TikTok shop is not something that was on my bingo card, but I am so ready to cover that. There's a lot of videos that we are going to just cover in general, so let's get it started.
If you're my parents, I would just skip past this one if I was you. But this is everything I spent this week as an 18-year-old who's about to go to college. This is a judgment-free zone, okay? Okay, let's kick this thing off with Monday. $123.19 was spent. First thing was just $5. It was a grad party card for my boyfriend. Then I bought something for $12 on TikTok shop, and this is bad, I know. But with tip, I spent $85.60 on my nails. Then as if that wasn't enough, I went on to spend $20 on DoorDash. We're still keeping this a judgment-free zone, okay?
Well, miss, unfortunately, you uploaded this, so, Judgment Day is upon you. But I promise I won't be too harsh here. Just a gander, but I'm guessing Monday is the, slow day here. If I did a challenge called Commentary on Spending Addictions, but when someone says TikTok shop, the video ends, well, I don't think we're getting very far. First off, cut out the DoorDash. It's unnecessary, unless you don't have a driver's license. But by the total amount you spent this week, I don't really see the justification here. Cut out the DoorDash and cook your own meals. It is ultimately cheaper than DoorDashing daily. You're gonna have to go into more detail for the TikTok shop here. $12 isn't the highest I've seen, but I do wonder if that includes the shipping as well.
Next up is Tuesday, in which I spent $153.15. I do justify this day because it was for my dorm, and I spent $129.86. Trust me, much more is going to be spent on my dorm, so I don't think that's that bad. I did spend another $23.29 on DoorDash, which you're definitely going to see a pattern with that. Next up is Wednesday. I went to Plato's Closet with my friend, and I ended up spending $62.64. But to be fair, two of those things were Lululemon leggings, and then one of them was a dress, and then I also got another shirt. So, like, that's really cheap, kind of. And I also spent exactly $5 at Five Below. Thursday, I ended up spending $134.18. I spent $10 at Starbucks trying the new drink, which I actually made a video on that, so like, it's content, it doesn't count. Then I bought all new hair products on Amazon, which was very expensive. As you can see, it was $99. Next things were not that bad. I spent $5 at Bath & Body Works and then $19 at Day. Those could have been a lot worse. Next! On Friday, I went to a Guardians game, so I had to pay for tickets and food. Those were $35 and $27, and then I also spent $10 at Drug Mart getting Alani. But that's a necessity, so that doesn't count. Now, the past 2 days, I didn't spend barely anything, so be proud. Only spent $1.43 on me, and okay, we're back to what I was saying. I only spent $1.43 because I had a gift card. Next up is Sunday, last day of the week, and I only spent $10 on DoorDash. Actually spent $13, but they got my order wrong, so I got a $3 refund. Okay, guys, are you ready for the grand total?
Holy shit. I'm exaggerating. That's not the worst I've seen. But I'd be shitting bricks if I started the first of the month that strong. Also, Amber, it isn't the DoorDash cost that is the problem. Well, maybe a little bit. But the issue is your habit to order DoorDash. Trust me when I tell you, it adds up. You don't think $20 per week adds up, but it does. Someone here in the comments chimed into exactly my point here. Another person here said, "It's okay. I saw somebody with $2,094. To my point, $561 is not the worst I've seen, but, you know, improvements can be made, especially if you're about to go to college and be broke for the next 4 years.
I got so duped into buying a Roomba when they went on sale earlier this year. If you do not know, Roomba filed bankruptcy in December of last year, and shortly after that, or around that time, their products went on a pretty nice discount. So I was like, why not? I vacuum a lot. I've got 3 kids. I've got 3 dogs. Let me save myself some time. No, it didn't save me time. It created a headache for me, a headache that I cannot get to stop now. So I used to have to run my Roomba while I was like awake and downstairs, or else it would get stuck on everything. It would get stuck on baby mats. It would get stuck under chairs. It would get stuck trying to go over the pole of my coffee table. It would get stuck underneath my couch. So I just was like, whatever, if I have to stay awake and like constantly reset it and get it unstuck, then fine. not fine. Not actually fine. Well, anyways, I moved. I had to like reset up my internet, all of the things. I go to pair my Roomba, and now my Roomba will not allow me to connect to Wi-Fi because my Wi-Fi password includes symbols in it. However, I cannot reset my Wi-Fi password because my Wi-Fi password is required to have a symbol in it, which basically means that I can't use my freaking Roomba anymore because I can't get it to set up to Wi-Fi.
God, Roomba really fell off. And I'm not surprised either. Their products were not evolving in any way, so it makes sense why they dropped in price. If something looks too good to be true, well, it's probably shit. Yeah. I would not have said this about Roomba 16 years ago when they took over the market, but now you have vacuum companies like Shark producing their own copy that works better. I would not be surprised if Amazon had like an Amazon Basics bot that paired with the Alexa and Ring doorbell. The Roomba is solving a problem with no urgency. I suppose the only argument made is that it serves people who are handicapped, but other than that, it might as well be another foot duster. Also, huge red flag. If something you buy always needs to connect to Wi-Fi, I just have a problem with that. But on top of that, an even bigger red flag is when the device needs a less secure password in order to do basic functions. I don't have a single smart device that will warn me saying, "We cannot accept the password to your home internet because we can't read an exclamation mark." Bloody hell.
And obviously, I'm out of the return window. And so now I'm just going to have to buy another one. And guess what I won't be buying? I will not be buying a Roomba. So if you've been considering buying a Roomba, if you're like trying to build up your like Black Friday shopping list already, like I am, do not add a Roomba on there. Go ahead and splurge and save yourself the headache. Get yourself a Roborock. That is what I will be doing now. And don't look for it on Amazon. Go to Costco. They're always so cheap.
It's sad to say, but most of these Roomba clones were made to be purchased and last less than 5 years before they start having problems. Then, they want you to shill out an arm and a leg to get it serviced. All that just so you buy the next generation shortly after. We know these devices have brushes and other tiny moving parts that can also wear down over time. But when I had mentioned Amazon Basics everything, hell, there's probably an Amazon Basics car at this point, someone mentioned that they got a knockoff version and used it for 2 years. Trust me, give it another 2, and the thing will start going rogue. Someone with similar issues said, "My Roomba wouldn't connect either when I moved it to a new house. I recently threw it away because I got the Shark version. We have a lab and her hair clogs it up all the time." Again, these miniature robot vacuums are not aimed to solve all of the floor cleaning issues, despite the attractive marketing videos.
I gave myself a budget of $30 for the entire week. Let's see how badly I did. Monday, nothing. Tuesday, $6.50 on a vanilla latte. Wednesday, $3.99 at Target for some peach rings. Was it good? Not really. $46 on a driver's license renewal. I can't believe it's already been 5 years. I feel like it was just yesterday. Thursday, nothing. Friday, $6.45 on coffee. And $11.14 on In-N-Out 3x2 and fries. Saturday, nothing. Sunday, $7.68 on McDonald's breakfast. And $6.25 on a Starbucks refresher. I never get refreshers, but I was really thirsty. So my total for the entire week was $88.01, which means I was $58.01 over budget. And hypothetically, if I spend $88.01 every week for the entire year, that would come out to $4,576.52. Let me know how much you spent this week as well, and I'll see you tomorrow.
$88 in a week is really not all that bad, but this is another case where takeout can be substituted for at-home cooking, if you're at the very least trying to get close to a $30 budget. $30 per week isn't exactly doable if you need gas to commute to your job, but certainly for cretins like myself that work remotely, I might be able to hold off. It won't be easy, and I may have to ration my caloric intake, but I'd be up for that challenge. $30 a week? Bold of you to assume that I can exist that cheaply. I was being way too optimistic about the $30 budget. Again, 88 is not too bad, but I choked up a little bit at some of the other confessions in the comments. I'm going to do my best to breathe here, but right out of the gate we have someone saying, from Monday to today, I've spent $370 and we only at Wednesday. And the creator responds saying, that's a win in my book. And I would agree. And I would only agree as opposed to this comment. I spent $6K and the week just started. Holy. If you're spending $6K weekly, you must be rolling. If not, I would hope that's on a really nice vacation in Europe. But judging by the heartbreak emoji, I don't think this person is rolling. This one doesn't even have a number. Okay, wow. I literally just went through what I spent in a week, and, safe to say, thanks. I will be canceling life now. Back to the $88 a week? Sir Michael, I don't think you even needed to feel shameful about this in any way. You are setting an example and possibly saving an entire generation.
Here's all the money I saved in July because for once in my life, I didn't buy every single thing I thought was cute. Welcome to the Confessions of an Overspender. I'm Gabriella and I'm trying to flip the script of my life and turn myself from an impulse spender into a financially literate gal. We're doing this one step at a time, but for the second month in a row, I haven't impulse spent, which honestly feels incredible. I'm really proud of myself. That doesn't mean that I didn't want to buy things, so let's talk to you about all the things that I didn't buy, but kind of still want. This is the Dragon Diffusion Santa Croak Tote. Retails for £380. I love this bag. I'm still on the lookout for my perfect summer bag. Old me would have snapped this up in 2 seconds, I'm not gonna lie, but I already have a wardrobe full of bags, so I don't need it.
Correct. You do not need that bag. Yet, they designed it in such a way to make you think you need it. I don't know why this Dragon Santa crochet tote bag thing is retailing at £380. I imagine this very bag will go on sale at a thrift shop for $20 the moment they get rid of it. These designer brands are running a social experiment using cheap materials to make some art and sell it at an insane markup. This is exactly the theme we're going to see here in more of Gabriella's confession here. You see shiny doubloon? You want shiny doubloon.
I'm such a Birkenstock gal. I've got myself a little collection of 3 pairs going on, silver, green and black. But when I saw this studded pair in such a gorgeous cool toned blue, oh my gosh, it took everything in me to not buy them. Did you know that Lego sell cats? I sure didn't, but when I walked past a Lego store the other day, they had a cat on display. And as your resident cat lady, anytime I see anything cat related, I want to buy it. This is very much still on my list. I would like a Lego cat on my shelving unit, just not this month.
Well, fuck. She is right about the Legos in general, though. Don't bring me to a Lego store because there's a specific set I want to splurge on, that being the Titanic. The only issue is I don't live in a house, and I have limited space, so it would just be chilling on my floor waiting to be stepped on. That being said, these are products aimed to catch your eye so you impulse buy. I'm not joking when I say that store layouts use methods of psychology. A couple comments about this confirm my theory. Making these videos would convince myself that I needed these things. And here's another one. I don't know why, but when I have money, nothing looks good. And when I don't have any money, I want everything.
So in total, in July, I saved £762.99 by not buying everything that I wanted. Pat on the back to me for completing 2 months of this. Let's see if we can make it 3.
Hell yeah. 762 buckaroos. Invest that dough, Gabriella. Then, down the line, you could buy a few more pairs of Birkenstocks. Without breaking the bank, of course. But seriously, Birkenstocks are pricey. Someone said, I've been eyeing those Birkenstocks too, but the price is just ridiculous. Yes, I would agree. £145 for Birkenstocks is criminal. I know I said the whole thing about thrifting earlier, but the one article of clothing you shouldn't thrift is shoes. I'd be afraid to buy a pair because what if I bring home a lightly used pair of running shoes and there's mushrooms inside, like moldy as hell? No, I'm all set. maybe the 145 isn't so bad after all.
How much I spent in the month of July as a 27-year-old traveling the world. So I'm in one of the most expensive cities in the world right now, but I actually managed my money quite well, as I had every cent on Revolut. Starting off, accommodation, $475, which is nuts considering this month alone I've traveled through Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, and now I'm in Britain, but I house sit most of the time, which keeps the cost right down. Food, this is the big one. $1,385. And the only reason I can actually break this down is Revolut splits my spendings into categories for me. So it's dead easy to see where all this is going, even if it's $1,400 on food.
$1,400 on food is diabolical. What are you buying, sir? Gold-plated steaks every night? Are you ordering designer clothes with your Uber Eats? For some reason, I can imagine the driver going to grab your order at In-N-Out and then stopping at Louis Vuitton for a little pit stop. But we continue.
Transport, that's $820, and that's trains, buses, a cheeky flight. The cool thing is I was spending euros most of the trip, and the second I hit the UK, I moved everything into a British account in the app. So when I tapped my card, the notification came through in pounds, which lets me know straight away that I'm using the right account. Shopping, $515. I swear I only bought a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Entertainment, $70. Can't remember what that was. Subscriptions, $460. And I pulled out $100 in cash straight out of my Revolut card, which is super handy because you never know when you're going to need cash. And a few other random costs. Which brings our grand total to $4,020. Because when you're traveling, what you spend every month changes so much. If you don't know where your money's going, it gets pretty nerve-wracking. So knowing how much I spend actually gives me the peace of mind to enjoy my trip and just not stress out about it all day long. And the rev points I've been racking up on this card might just mean my next trip's free.
Yeah, don't worry, little buddy. I'm right here with you. I agree with you.
Every time I check my banking info, I swear I'm being scammed. So I've decided to track my spending habits from last week. On Monday, I was at LCBO, spent money on my PlayStation, Uber, Chipotle, and a haircut coming at $245.64. Not too bad. Moving on to Tuesday, I was at LCBO again, spent money on gas, Uber, again, I literally have my license. I don't know why I'm Ubering so much. Shawarma, Domino's, totaling at $170.55. Wednesday, I only spent $50.85 on my phone bill, which isn't too bad. I'm actually proud of myself. Okay, moving on to Thursday, I spent money on my school course, Uber, Apple Music bill, LCBO, transit. I went to some Asian spot and groceries, $966.02. On Friday, we spent money on Amazon, transit, $56 on bike share. I think there was a $50 security deposit and I was really drunk and I wanted to ride a bike. Restaurant, Uber, and that totaled to $145.03. I don't think it's publicly acceptable to explain how much I spent on the weekend, so we're just gonna skip that part. Overall spending last week, excluding the weekends, was $1,578.09.
Hooey! $1,500 is a doozy. Right off the bat, dude. You have a license and you're Ubering. On top of that, the takeout, once again, gives a little sting by the end of the month. I'm glad he included groceries, though, as a comparison. However, he did not mention that he owns or leases a vehicle. And everyone needs a license to buy alcohol, fireworks, guns, the club, and I already mentioned driving. I'm just saying, Uber will rack you up a hefty bill if you're using it to commute every day. And by the looks of it, you're going a solid distance if you spend around $30 per day on Uber. That's a few full tanks of gas right there. Someone asked, are you a billionaire? Pretty good gag. But even if he was, let's just say, a millionaire, the cost of takeout wouldn't even be on his radar. It would just be another day of lounging. Which, if he's paying off student loans, well, actually it's not student loans, but a class, there's probably not much lounging to be had. Sorry, I'm getting carried away here. Someone also asked, what is LCBO? I thought this sounded like some bootleg of Visco, but it's really just a liquor store. I'm putting two and two together when he said he rented a bike after drinking like a sailor. That actually sounds really fun, but extremely deadly. Anyways, moving on.
Things I regret buying on the TikTok shop. Trying to save you money because I wasted mine. Starting off strong with the fan blade cleaner. What was wrong with me just cleaning my fan blades like I always have with the Swiffer instead of having another big honking tool to hang around? All of the niche t-shirts. I'll give you 2 wears tops and you're going to be sick of them. The entire Medicube bundle. Trying to figure out what order to use them all in and where to store them at gave me wrinkles instead of curing them. This miracle finally be able to concentrate and get your life together supplement. Why was I trying to buy medicine on TikTok?
I'm glad to finally address this. Buying medicine on TikTok is so unbelievably irresponsible. That being said, why does TikTok Shop allow people to buy supplements in the first place? This ain't Walgreens. It's not like a sanctioned pharmacy, is it? Buying supplements from TikTok is like buying ground beef off of Temu. And ironically, Temu is basically a TikTok shop of its own. But that's for another video. I cannot tell you how many shirts I have personally donated in the last few months. I have shedded at least a few blankets worth of clothing to Goodwill. I think at one point I had one of those shirts with Lightning McQueen on the front. Yeah, Lightning McQueen from Pixar goes hard as hell. But why in the hell would I keep it? I know people in the comments are going to flame me by saying, you just got rid of a gem. You wouldn't understand. God, I'm getting carried away here. The point is, this girl had a eureka moment and realized you just shouldn't buy clothes because you like them once in that moment in time forever, because you'll never wear it again.
The bath bomb surprise jewelry. No, just for so many reasons, no. Anything from either of these 2 brands. I wanted to like them so much, but your house will not smell like this. Your laundry will not smell like this. They don't last. They don't work. The only exception is the multi-purpose cleaner from this company. This is the mop soap, but they have a multi-purpose cleaner. I actually do like it. The only downfall to it is that it's a funky color, so you cannot use it with white or it's going to show up on your stuff. This hair identifier spray. It was real fun until I realized that it was making me dust my house like Amelia Bedelia. It will get on every surface in your entire house. So yeah, save your money.
We gotta go straight to the comments here because, well, there are a lot of good ones. 99% of the TikTok shop is just Temu, but more expensive. Exactly. To my point about the ground beef earlier. I'm also being fully sarcastic here. I don't believe Temu would sell that. It would probably arrive on your doorstep with some radioactive glow. I don't believe you on the Medicube products. Those work wonders on my face. I have no reason to lie. Lol, apparently it's wonderful for people who have normal skin, but dries you out like a prune if you have sensitive skin or rosacea. I have both. I understand those medication ads can be annoying, but when they say consult with your doctor before taking X medication, they're not joking. It's a legal matter. So, do not take your medical advice from a random TikTok comment, please. And now we get back to another common sense message here. 100% agree with all of this. TikTok creators will sell their soul for that commission, and it's turned into one big commercial. Yep, and this one big commercial is what has caused this madness of impulsive buying and regretful purchases. Well, that just about wraps up this video. If you have any regretful purchases you might want to share, leave a little comment about it in the comment section. Anyways, thank you for watching.